It's here. It's finally here. Now is the time to start planning your big Disney cruise vacation for 2024. But where to begin? What should you be prioritizing? What's there to look forward to? And how are you going to budget for such a major vacation expense? Find out all the Disney cruise answers you're searching for today here on DFV Guide. We got you. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and I am so ready to feel the wind in my hair and listen to the waves crash as we head back to the Disney Cruise Line for 2024. A Disney cruise can be a great alternative to a Disney Parks vacation, because for one reason it's way more relaxing. But in order to actually make it a great alternative, you're going to need to know a thing or two about what to expect aboard these ships to really maximize your time sailing the seven seas. And that's exactly what we're going to help you accomplish today. Well, we're going to maximize your time and your money, because it's a lot of money. Let me help you out right this second. If you scan the QR code you see on the screen now, or head over to disneyfoodblog.com/cruise planning, you can download our new and free Disney Cruise Ultimate Guide digital companion, which is filled with pro tips and full color pictures, a cruise packing list, and planning worksheets to help you keep track of your best Disney vacation ever. All right, are you ready to start the ultimate guide to Disney Cruise Line in 2024? We're going to start with the core basics. Before you can start planning your trip across the seas, you got to know what to expect right off the bat. There are currently 5 Disney cruise ships that you can choose to sail aboard: the Magic, the Wonder, the Dream, the Fantasy, and the newest ship in the fleet, the Wish. There's also going to be a 6th ship joining the fleet in 2024. We're going to talk about that a little later on in the video. Each ship has the same style of offerings, like all-inclusive dining, activities, spas, lounges, kids clubs, port destinations, you name it. But they all have their own unique take on it. Some experiences might overlap between ships, like how you can eat at the Animator's Palette on every Disney ship except the Disney Wish, while other experiences are completely one of a kind to the ship that you choose. We've got a video out now comparing each of the cruise line ships. If you want to see which ones come out on the top for us, go check it out. But the goal of this video isn't to make the cruise ships fight for our love and attention, because they've already got that. We are here to learn and become Disney Cruise Masters. And in order to truly become a Disney Cruise Master, you're going to need to download the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app first, like even before you make that initial down payment on the cruise itself. That Navigator app is going to be your jumping off point for your entire vacation. Before you set sail, you can use the app to manage your cruise reservations, including things like making payments and booking activities for your cruise, both on board and in port, and checking in for your cruise too. You can also use the app before your cruise to add ground transportation or flight details, or have all your travel stuff kept in one convenient location. And during the cruise, your Navigator app is still going to be mighty handy to have nearby. It's going to be your go-to. You can use this app aboard the ship to talk to cast members from multiple divisions, including guest services and port adventures and the dining team, right from your stateroom. You can communicate with members of your own group via the chat feature. You can track down your dining information, like where your table's going to be located, whether you've got first or second dinner seating, and which rotational meal you're going to be at each night. You're going to view menus of the restaurants and lounges. That's my favorite thing to do. You can take a look at the various entertainment offerings and activities available. You can see the times for things like fitness classes and deck parties and the multiple theater shows, and maybe even engage in a fun interactive game like the Midship Detective Agency found on the Disney Fantasy and Dream, where you're going to find clues, use immersive technology, and help your fellow Disney pals solve an interactive mystery aboard the ship. Or Disney Uncharted Adventure found on the Disney Wish, where you're going to use augmented reality to track down magical constellations and help Captain Minnie find missing wishing star fragments. Okay, so winter, spring, summer, or fall. A Disney cruise can be a great fit in any season, but what's the best time of year to set sail on a Disney cruise? Now, it entirely depends on your destination. Each region has its own high season, the busiest times of year, and a shoulder or low season. Booking a cruise during the shoulder or lower seasons can often mean cheaper rates and less crowded destinations. For the Bahamas and Caribbean, September is generally the best time for lower crowds and cheaper rates, since schools have just started back up in the US and families are less likely to travel. It's also hurricane season, so people are concerned that their vacation is going to be sidelined by a storm. Now, November is the start of the low season for Mediterranean cruises, because cruising around these parts starts to slow down in general for many other cruise lines once the temperatures start to drop. The remainder of Europe, however, is best sailed during May and October because the temperatures are comfortable and the school crowds either haven't gone on their summer break just yet, or they've already wrapped up their break and are now back in session. If you're thinking about an Alaskan cruise, May and September are the shoulder seasons here for similar reasons as I stated earlier. In fact, the official Alaska website even states that cruise prices during those times may be lower, perhaps by a couple $100s per person, and selected shore and land excursions can also be 20% cheaper. Food for thought. If you want to cruise into Hawaii this year, your best option and probably only option for 2024 is going to be aboard the Disney Wonder between September 23rd and October 3rd. While Disney's other Hawaiian cruises start in Honolulu, this is the only cruise that'll end in Honolulu. Just keep in mind that this is a rather lengthy cruise. It's 10 nights, and it's only going to go one way, meaning you'll have to find a flight that'll take you the rest of the way home once you debark. Because Australia and New Zealand are located on the southern hemisphere of the globe, their summer seasons are actually the opposite of what we experience out in the States, meaning your warmest cruise weather is going to fall during December to February. Typically, major holidays or times when kids are out of school are going to be the busiest you'll see the cruise ships and the port destinations. But even then, the ships are capped off at a certain number of guests per cruise since there are only so many staterooms on board. So while a cruise can feel crowded, you never really feel like you're shoulder to shoulder all the time with the people you're out at sea with, like you might feel in the Disney theme parks during their peak season times. Cruises that take place over weekends are often busier, so if it fits in your schedule, consider booking a trip that primarily takes place on weekdays. Another important thing to remember while booking your cruise is that hurricane season. I'm talking about those Bahamas and Caribbean cruises, which often see tropical weather systems year after year. Hurricane season runs from June to November, and while that doesn't mean you're 100% going to run into a storm during that time of year, if that's when you're planning on sailing, it's important to keep that in mind and to continually keep an eye on the extended forecast for your trip. If for some reason a hurricane becomes too strong, making it dangerous for the passengers and crew to proceed with the sailing, Disney will go ahead and cancel your cruise and provide you with a full refund so you can book a different one at a later time when conditions improve. You also want to make sure you're paying attention to trip insurance if you are traveling during hurricane season. And one last thing you'll want to ask yourself before choosing when you want to take your cruise is this: do you want a regular cruise experience or a themed one? Throughout the year, the Disney cruises have these limited time seasonal sailings and special days at sea. And during these sailings, you'll be able to experience exclusive deck parties and rare characters or Disney pals in special costumes, limited time food and beverage offerings, and fun-filled activities, and a lot more. Seasonal sailings for 2024 include Pixar Day at Sea. That's on select 7-night Caribbean sailings out of Port Canaveral from January to March. Marvel Day at Sea is available on select 5-night cruises from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas and Western Caribbean from January through early March. Halloween on the High Sea kicks off in September and lasts until Halloween. Thanksgiving at Sea, which will be available for select 4 to 7-night cruises during Thanksgiving week specifically. Very Merry Time cruises start in November and last throughout December. These cruises get real decked out with their tree lighting ceremonies, Santa Claus sightings, and even snow flurries across Disney's private island destinations, by the way, and a New Year's celebration where you'll get to ring in the new year with a specialty dinner and fireworks display. Okay, welcome to the club, my friends. As soon as you put that first down payment on your first ever Disney cruise, you will be officially initiated into the Castaway Club. Look at you, being one of the cool kids. The Castaway Club is a way that Disney Cruise Line recognizes returning cruisers. Members receive exclusive onboard gifts, early access to new sailing itineraries, and early access to booking onshore excursions or exclusive ship experiences like spa services or specialty dining. And believe me when I say that early booking access can be mighty useful, since some of those more popular or more limited activities can fill up really fast. So having that early booking advantage can definitely play in your favor for future cruises. So here's the question you might be asking now. How early can you start booking these exclusive experiences? Again, it all depends on your membership status. First-time guests sailing with Disney Cruise Line have an advance booking window that opens 75 days before they sail. Silver members who sailed 1 to 4 times can add cruise activities 90 days before sailing. Gold members who sailed 5 to 9 times can book 105 days in advance. Platinum members who sailed 10 to 24 times can book 120 days out. And Ultimate Elite Pearl members who've sailed with Disney 25 times or more can add cruise activities 123 days prior to sailing. Want to cut corners and get early booking times without having to cruise 25 times? Then you can always splurge on a concierge stateroom. The concierge level is similar to a club level room that you can get at Disney World or Disneyland. By staying in a concierge level stateroom, you'll pay more for your cruise in exchange for access to a lounge, a personal concierge team, extra services that could make your cruise even more relaxing, memorable, and engaging, plus free soda. Now, once you've booked your concierge level room, a concierge attendant will reach out to you, usually through email, about 130 days prior to your cruise cruise departure date. They'll ask about your goals and your plans for your cruise and help you get those experiences booked. The big downside of the concierge level rooms, however, is going to be the cost. Now, I'm going to talk more about other stateroom cost levels later on in the video, but just keep in mind that concierge level rooms are almost 4 times the price of a regular inside stateroom, typically costing around $10,000 to $30,000, depending on how long your cruise is and which ship you choose. So, is that price really worth the splurge? Well, depends on who you're asking. Sometimes those concierge rooms can be perfect for families with little ones in tow, since you'll get early access to reserve spots for them in the nursery. You'll get immediate access to your room on embarkation day for naps. And for any other assistance, you'll have the concierge cast member team to help you, right there with you, instead of having to traipse down to guest relations on the 4th level. However, if you're not planning to book any exclusive excursions or take advantage of the concierge lounge because you're just so busy experiencing literally everything else, you may want to choose a standard style stateroom instead. One thing I will say about concierge staterooms is that most of the time on cruises that go to Castaway Cay, the concierge guests are the ones that are able to book those cabanas first, and they usually will fill up with concierge guests. So if you want one of those private cabanas on Castaway Cay, going concierge is one of the only ways to get one. Okay, so where are we gonna go on our cruise? If you're looking to relax on a white sandy beach or take a billion pictures of snowy glaciers or walk the streets of an overseas location you never thought you'd have the chance to visit, Disney Cruises will take you wherever you want to go. Within reason, of course. Sorry, Arendelle isn't on the lineup this year. You'll have to settle on sending Queen Anna a postcard, or you can just go to Hong Kong Disneyland. If you go to the Disney Cruise Line website, you can browse all the different destinations these ships can potentially take you to. But let's take a quick look at where each ship is planning on going in 2024. The Dream's going to start 2024 with an assortment of 3 and 4 night getaways to the Bahamas, as well as 5 night vacations to the Western Caribbean. Meanwhile, the Wish is going to start 2024 with 3 and 4 night voyages to Nassau, Bahamas, and Castaway Cay. That, by the way, is Disney's Bahamian private island and will depart from Port Canaveral, Florida. Also leaving from Port Canaveral is the Disney Fantasy, which will have 7 night sailings to both the Eastern and Western Caribbean. Eastern Caribbean cruises will visit Tortola and St. Thomas, and Western Caribbean will stop at Cozumel, Grand Cayman, and Falmouth, Jamaica. Oh, and one quick note for you. All of the cruise sailings leaving from Florida will include at least 1 stop at Castaway Cay, so you don't have to worry about missing out on that. The Disney Magic will have 2 limited time engagements in Galveston, Texas in early 2024. The ship will have trips ranging in length from 4 to 6 nights throughout the end of January. But in February, the Magic will be leaving out of New Orleans with 4, 5, and 7 night cruises to the Caribbean. Then between March and April, the ship will head back to Galveston for cruises ranging from 4 to 7 nights in the Western Caribbean. And finally, the Wonder will return from its first season in Australia and New Zealand to arrive in San Diego in March 2024. From there, it's going to have those 3 to 7 night voyages to Mexico, including the Baja Peninsula. Some of the locations you could visit include Cabo San Lucas, Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, and Ensenada, along with Catalina Island in California. Once again, this is just a sneak peek into all the different places Disney Cruise can take you, and you can learn about many, many more via the Disney Cruise Line website, because all of these ships are going to move someplace else for the summer season. But let's not forget about the newest private island destination that select cruises will be sailing to next year. Located on the island of Eleuthera in the Bahamas, Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point is opening in the summer of 2024. The destination will have an adults-only beach, a family water play area, a themed kids club, and pretty much everything you really need to have a nice relaxing beach getaway in the Bahamas. Recently, we got to check out some new Lookout Cay concept art that Disney released to get future cruisers pumped to visit. These details include the Mabrika Cove arrival point, the Goombay Cultural Center, where guests can learn more about the musical traditions of the Bahamas, Triton's Trumpet Stage, a gazebo for family entertainment, the Treasures of Eleuthera gift shop, and Serenity Bay, which will be the adults-only beach area, much like you can experience over at Castaway Cay as well. The Magic, Dream, and Fantasy cruise ships will all offer sailings to Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point, but the Magic will kick things off during its 3-night Lighthouse Point preview sailing from Port Canaveral, Florida on June 6th to the 9th, 2024. So I already jumped the gun with this point when I went off on my concierge room tangent, but let's talk about all the other staterooms you can potentially stay in aboard the Disney Cruises too. So each of the Disney Cruise Line ships has the same standard cabin or stateroom options. Inside staterooms are the cheapest, followed by Ocean View. Ocean View rooms will have a porthole but not a balcony, so if you want the balcony, you can go for the Ocean View room with a veranda. And of course, the most expensive room category is Concierge, which offers the highest quality rooms with the best amenities, plain and simple. Most staterooms staterooms have that typical Disney Cruise Line split bathroom concept, featuring a sink and shower in one room and a sink and toilet in a separate room. And all staterooms do feature a bathtub/shower combo. Enhanced storage options include roomy closets and elevated bed frames for additional under-the-bed storage, but some ships also offer a pull-down bed that can be put away during the day for extra space, and usually kids are going to sleep up there. Many staterooms also have adjoining doors and verandas, so families have the option to spread out a little bit more instead of all cramming into one little stateroom together like a bunch of sardines. And now we're back in the concierge level rooms, which can accommodate 5 to 7 guests with large living areas, luxurious finishes, and all those other lovely amenities I just got done talking about, plus that private veranda for most of the top dollar rooms. But the new Disney Wish kicks things up a notch with their additional 4 royal suites, 2 of which feature a second level connected with a spiral staircase and stained glass windows. The Disney Wish also has its own penthouse called the Wish Tower Suite, which is a 2-story Moana-themed area that's located within one of the ship's funnels. Now, this suite is ginormous, including 2 main bedrooms, a children's room, a literal library that converts into a bedroom, and 4.5 bathrooms. There's also an open dining area, a spacious pantry, and a bar, plus some pretty spectacular views. But let's be real here. If you book this penthouse, are you really ever going to want to leave it to experience the rest of the ship? Seems like you'd just be bunkered up in here for the remainder of your cruise to get your money's worth, you know? But hey, maybe a big group of you want to book it and you're gonna have a blast. Cruises tend to fill up closer and closer to the sail date, with those ocean view and veranda rooms booking up the fastest. So if you want to make a reservation until just a few months out, you might be left with slim pickings when it comes to your accommodations. Booking early can increase your choice of staterooms that you'll have to choose from, so you don't have to settle for the next best thing. Now, I know you're ready to get on the ship right now and start enjoying life on the water, but you're going to need to make sure you're setting yourself up for success before your sail away. And that means gathering together all your required documentation that's going to allow you to board in the first place. Depending on your citizenship and your cruise destination, your required travel documents can vary. But for U.S. citizens, plan to bring an original, valid U.S. passport or passport card. If you don't have a passport or card, you're not completely out of luck here. You can also bring an original or copy of a state-issued birth certificate and government-issued photo ID. You can bring an original consular report of birth abroad issued by the Department of State and government-issued photo ID, or an original certificate of naturalization issued by the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services and government-issued photo ID. You should also bring any vacation confirmation documents, medical or prescription documents, and emergency contact info. These documents will need to be handy, so don't pack them in your suitcases that you'll check in at the terminal. Instead, keep them in your carry-on bag for easy access when you check in. Before your cruise date, check with the Disney Cruise Line website for any other documentation or health and safety notifications. Also, heads up, in order to even check in for your cruise, which you're going to have to do before you get there, you're going to need all this documentation too, so make sure to have it handy while you're at home. Now, let's set you up with some internet success. Connect at Sea offers internet packages based on your online needs. Instead of paying by the minute, you pay for the data you use. So, for instance, streaming movies will consume a lot more megabytes data than, say, reading an email. Using the onboard Wi-Fi allows you to connect anywhere on the ship and chat, post pictures on social media, or simply stay connected while at sea. And don't forget to budget for those extra expenses that'll sneak up on you. Tipping or gratuities are customary on cruises, and there are several cast members that will need to be included in your tipping consideration. A traditional gratuity amount starts at $14.50 per night per stateroom guest, and yes, that also includes infants and children. So for a family of 4 in one stateroom on a 7-night cruise, you're looking at about $406 of gratuities distributed across 4 cast members, including your dining room server, dining room assistant server, dining room head server, and stateroom host. You can prepay gratuities online by visiting My Reservations in your Navigator app account and following the prompts for prepaid gratuities. Now, I've tried to do this for my past couple of cruises and it hasn't worked, so I hope it works for you. If you didn't get a chance to prepay before boarding the ship, or if it doesn't work for you, the cruise line will automatically charge your onboard account the suggested gratuity amount. Once on the ship, you can adjust the amount of your prepaid gratuities by visiting guest services prior to the end of your cruise. You're also going to want to save a little more moolah if you plan on parking your car in the Disney Cruise Line parking garage throughout the duration of your trip. Starts at around $75 per vehicle. And don't forget about that souvenir money too. More than likely, you'll want to at least bring back a little token or trifle from your trip for memory's sake. Many specialty drinks and desserts are also going to be a separate cost from your all-inclusive dining, so just be aware that if you're stepping into a lounge or suite shop, their offerings are going to require you to pay extra. Now, something that is free on Disney cruises is soda pop. That's not necessarily free on other cruise lines, so that's a huge bonus. Speaking about soda pop, let's talk about dining. Every single dining option across all 5 ships would take an entire video to fully explore, which is why we actually do have an entire video ranking every restaurant across the Disney Cruise Line already on our YouTube page. Imagine that. But now we're going to give you the Disney Cruise Line dining crash course. Each Disney cruise ship is all inclusive, which means you're going to be able to eat to your stomach's content at places like the buffet, the food court near the pools, and the themed rotational dining rooms for dinner only. Disney Cruise Line's rotational dining lets you eat at 3 all-inclusive restaurants aboard your ship while your servers rotate along with you. That way they get to know your group and dining preferences super well throughout the course of your trip. But much like I stated in the previous point, not all food and drink options are included with your stateroom price, even though we say it's all-inclusive. Coffee shops, especially sweet stores, lounges, and signature adults-only dining are going to cost you extra to experience, so be sure to budget accordingly. Okay, great. Now you got a nice little overview of how all those dining styles work. So let's get into the more specific dining tips and tricks now. Enjoy your meal however you want to. No matter which rotational restaurant you're eating in on any particular night, you'll have a 3-course option where you can choose to order an appetizer, entree, and dessert. But that doesn't mean you gotta stick to those dining parameters. If you wanted 4 appetizers, no entree, and 1 dessert, you can do that. Or if you wanted 3 entrees and no extra apps or sweets, you can do that too. You already paid for all this food after all, you might as well order the meal you know you want to eat. Also, be sure to stay hydrated. At the buffets and near the food courts, you'll have access to drink refill stations. And yes, these sodas, teas, and basic coffees are also included with the price of your stateroom, so fill up as often as you want. Now, let's say you want to book a nice meal for one night of your cruise, yet all the tables are already booked by the time you go on the cruise website to make reservations. When you first board, go immediately to the restaurant that you were wanting to book. These are adults-only restaurants, by the way, on all the ships, and talk to the host out front. The host may be able to add your name on a first-come, first-served wait list. That way, if and only if more availability does pop up, you still might be able to get your classy date night after all. And don't forget, you can eat all-inclusive food off the ship too. Castaway Cay has 3 dining locations, and they're all-inclusive with the cost of your cruise. The first 2 are for the whole family, Cookies Barbecue and Cookies 2, while the third one, Air Bar Barbecue, is over at Serenity Bay, the adults-only beach. Anything you pick up food-wise from these 3 spots is free game, but Air Bar also offers up some specialty adult cocktails too that you may want to pay extra. Try. As far as dining around other ports of call other than Castaway Cay, you will have to pay extra for all your non-Disney meals. So again, bring extra cash if you plan on getting some grub outside the Disney bubble and at one of the local food stands. Now, there are 2 ways to enjoy a nice breakfast at sea. The first is through the ship's casual buffet offering, and the second, more peaceful breakfast option is eating in select dining room areas instead when available. Normally, you'd eat at these dining room locations during one of your rotational dinners, but some of these restaurants open in the morning too for a more casual and relaxed sit-down meal. By the way, sometimes the adult dining locations do have brunches too. Those book up really, really fast, but they're delicious. While the Disney cruises may not have roller coasters and dark rides like the Disney parks do, you're never going to find these ships lacking in the entertainment department. Disney cruise activities and entertainment can be sorted into 2 very basic categories, the free stuff and the premium stuff. In the free entertainment department, you're going to be able to check out activities like Broadway-style performances, meet and greets with your favorite characters, trivia competitions, inflatable obstacle courses, ship tours, drawing lessons, exercise classes, early release movie showings, pool games, and deck parties, which could wrap up with a fireworks show depending on the night. Okay, you can actually do a whole lot more than that, but your Navigator app is going to be able to fill you in on the rest of the details once you embark. You don't want me blah-blahing them all to you right now. Meanwhile, some of the premium activities you can book and pay for ahead of your visit include paid bingo opportunities with prize packages, spa services, and wine, beer, and cocktail tastings and seminars. You can also book excursions ahead of your trip that you can experience at your cruise's ports of call. With that being said, possibly the biggest Disney cruise offerings that appeal to so many families out there are the separate kids clubs. All the cruise ships provide youth and teen clubs to keep the kids entertained for free during their cruise. Kids ages 3 to 12 are able to visit Disney's Oceaneer Club. That's broken up into several different ultra-themed rooms that could include immersive areas like Star Wars, a Disney Infinity game room, Frozen Adventures, Fairy Tale Hall, Marvel Superhero Academy, and lots of other Disney-fied experiences filled with character interactions, games, activities, and all-day fun with well-trained counselors. hours. Another unique spot for kids to hang out and be creative is the Oceaneer Lab. Here, kids can craft and experiment in a safe environment that promotes the best sides of their imagination. While the Magic, Wonder, Fantasy, and Dream all have the Oceaneer Lab, the Wish actually has an updated version called the Walt Disney Imagineering Lab that features a ride studio where kids can design their own Disney Park roller coaster and then take a virtual ride on it. That's awesome. Tweens ages 11 to 14 have their own space aboard the Disney ships too, called Edge. This area provides preteens and early teens with a comfy, cozy spot where they can chill with other kids their age while playing games and having dance or karaoke parties, engaging in counselor-led activities, or just hanging out for a bit. It's basically their own little mini vacation within a vacation. The teens-only hangout location for ages 14 to 17 is called Vibe. It's professionally chaperoned in a laid-back way that allows teens to still feel unrestricted and comfortable while still providing them with a good time playing games, listening to music, watching TV, and taking part in activities made solely for their age group. But let's say you've got a real itty-bitty member of your group who falls between the 6 months to 3 years age range. If you've got fancy dinner plans or you want to relax in one of the adults-only areas for a bit, you can book your baby a spot in the It's a Small World nursery ahead of your visit. They cost $9 per hour and $8 per hour for every additional child you want to sign up. Space is limited here, so you'll need to book your child's stay as soon as possible, as in right when your activity booking window opens up. Once you get that spot secured, you can rest assured that your little one will have a fun, safe, and Disney-rific time. Adults who want to stop by these locations just to get a peek at what the fun is all about can stop by during open house hours, which will be listed on the daily activities via your Navigator app. Now, 2024 is going to be a busy year for the Disney Cruise Line because they're getting all prepped and ready to introduce another ship into their fleet, and that ship is the Disney Treasure. The Treasure is going to celebrate Walt Disney's lifelong love of adventure, drawing its decorative influences from Asia and Africa and even Aladdin's Agrabah. The atrium of this ship looks absolutely stunning. So what can we expect to find here? Here's some of the fun stuff we know so far, and what I love about it is that there's a lot of Disney Parks influences on this ship for the first time ever. So rotational dining is going to include a brand new Plaza de Coco theatrical dining experience, as well as Worlds of Marvel and 1923. Those last two we've seen aboard the Disney Wish. When it comes to entertainment, the featured Broadway-style productions aboard the Treasure will include two fan favorites, Beauty and the Beast and Disney Seas the Adventure, and a new and exclusive show, Disney The Tale of Moana. There'll be tons of different premium sweet shops and cafe stops for you to choose between, like the Zootopia-themed Jumbo's Sweets, Hey Hey Cafe, based off Moana's funny little chicken friend, and Jade Cricket Cafe, inspired by the Fa family's Lucky Cricket, Cricky from Mulan. But if I'm being completely honest, one of the things I'm actually looking forward to the most are the Treasure's lounges, which will be adult-only experiences offering elevated interpretations of Disney adventures and parks attractions. These will include a brand new Haunted Mansion parlor, Skipper Society inspired by Jungle Cruise, and a Periscope pub inspired by not only Walt Disney's 1954 film 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but also by the Disney Parks' now defunct attraction that used to reside in Disney World from 1971 to 1994. There's also a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea over in Tokyo Disney Sea. Okay, I could keep going, but if you want to learn more about this new ship on your own time, be sure to check out our full Disney Treasure post over on the DFB website, which I'll link down in the description for you right now. Oh, by the way, there's an Epcot-themed concierge suite on that ship, which is going to be unbelievable. Okay, now for the big question. When is the Disney Treasure going to start sailing with the rest of the Disney fleet? The maiden voyage of the Disney Treasure will be a 7-night Eastern Caribbean cruise from Port Canaveral, Florida, leaving on December 21st, 2024. This voyage will be followed by an inaugural season offering 7-night sailings to the Eastern and Western Caribbean from Port Canaveral. Okay, now comes the not so fun part of this video. How much is a Disney cruise going to cost you? Don't worry, once we crunch all those initial costs, I'll lead you through some of our reliable money-saving techniques that have helped the DFB team and I tremendously slash cruise prices in the past, so maybe they'll do the same for you too. Prices can vary a lot based on different factors, including things like travel dates, room type, destination, you get it. Changing up these factors can make a huge difference in the price of your trip, so it's pretty tricky for me to give you an exact cost, but I can offer you a price range to use as a springboard. For a standard party of 4 with 2 adults and 2 kids, the cheaper end of the cruising spectrum, which means you'll be booking an inside stateroom for a 3 to 4 night cruise during one of DCL's slower cruising seasons, those prices can range around $2,000 to $3,000. If you stick to a budget of around $4,000 to $7,000, you'll generally be able to have your choice of a stateroom on a 4, 5, or 6-night cruise to places in the Caribbean, Bahamas, or even the Pacific coast. But if you push that budget up to 7 or 8, you could do a nice 7-night trip to the Eastern Caribbean and be able to stay in an ocean view veranda stateroom. And of course, I already dropped the big concierge price on you earlier. Hopefully I didn't make you spit your drink out or anything. But if you want to get really bougie or fancy with your Disney cruise, like even fancier than just being in the concierge suite, you could technically book a 12-night Mediterranean with Greek Isles cruise for $70,000. Now that is fancy. But let's not try to set the limbo bar super high today if we can avoid it. We want to see how low we can go. So let's talk about ways to save instead. Generally speaking, the further away from your selected sail date you book, the cheaper your cruise could wind up being. The cruise line has tiered pricing, meaning you'll find lower rates earlier on. Passengers are required to put down a deposit when booking, but if you book early enough, you'll be able to pay down the remainder of your balance over time, if that floats your boat. And let's not forget the most effortless way to save money on a Disney cruise, the travel agent way. Our friends over at Small World Vacations will book your cruise and anything else you might need for it at no extra cost while also saving you money in the process. How? Because they already know what discounts are available to help you score those better deals. But there's more to talk about. Another great part about booking through Small World is that their travel agents often offer bonuses for people who book cruises through them, which basically means you can get free ship credit that you can spend on things like special beverages, dining in signature restaurants, etc. You could get anywhere from $50 to $1,000 in onboard credit depending on the cruise you book. Yep. They don't just save you money, they give it to you too. So if you're looking to book a Disney cruise, make sure you visit our friends over at Small World Vacations for a quote. They can help you plan your cruise from start to finish and get you the best deals possible. I'll go ahead and link their info down in the description if you want to get a quote. And now it's time to sail away. But before you take off, don't forget to download our free Ultimate Disney Cruise Guide over at disneyfoodblog.com/cruise planning. And be sure to tune back in as we continue learning more about what 2024 has in store for Disney Cruise Line. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.